always been someone who tries to help when I can. It's literally in my nature to go above and beyond for any friends, especially when they're going through a tough time. That's just who I am. So a year ago, when my neighbor Amanda moved in, I could tell that she was struggling. She had a little girl around my daughter's age, so I just figured she could use a helping hand. As a mom of 2 young kids, I know how hard it is to juggle everything. At first, it was small things, like watching her daughter when she needed to go to the grocery store, or running an errand for her while I was already out. I didn't mind at all, and Amanda didn't really have any family. She just moved here, and I know how hard it was being a new mom trying to keep everything together. So I was happy to step in. After all, what are neighbors for, right? So we would bond over the challenges of motherhood, and I was just doing what I thought any good friend would do. But slowly, things started to shift. What started as a few favors every once in a while turned into more favors, more asks, more everything, more. And at first I brushed it off, telling myself, oh, she's probably going through a rough patch. But soon it felt like her responsibilities were becoming my problem. So one day Amanda calls me, asking me to pick up her daughter from daycare because she has to stay late at work. And I didn't hesitate, brushed over, picked up her daughter. She stayed with us till Amanda was able to come by and get her. And this wasn't the first time I've helped with daycare pickups, but it was becoming more frequent. And then when she came to pick up her daughter, she dropped a little bombshell asking, hey, do you think you could pick her up from daycare every day? Work's been so crazy and hectic and I just don't know when it'll stop. And I froze. Every day? Like, I have my own kids and my own responsibilities to worry about. That's a whole other chore you're giving me. I just couldn't believe she had the nerve to ask for it because we've talked about how hectic our lives are. So she knows very intimately how much I already have on my plate. But what really bothered me was the way she said it, because it didn't feel like a question. She said it in a way that felt like she just expected me to say yes. Like she already assumed I would be fine with it. I felt a lump in my throat, and for the first time, I felt taken advantage of. Here I was, bending over backwards for this person, and instead of gratitude, she now expects me to readjust my schedule just because she asked me to? That didn't sit right. And maybe I'm wrong, but what would you do if a friend or a neighbor asked more of you than what you're already giving? Would you stand up for yourself, or would you feel obliged to help? Like, seriously, let me know in the comments, because if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's fine. After that conversation, I just could feel the resentment bubbling up inside of me. I mean, had I really been that naive? All this time I thought I was being a good friend, but now Amanda sees me as this person to just solve all of her problems in life? I sat down and I really thought about all the times I'd helped her in the past year. And it wasn't just daycare pickups. It was grocery trips, watching her daughter, after work, after school, after this, on weekends if she had plans. The more I thought about it, the more I realized how one-sided that was. She rarely, if ever, watched my kids. I was doing all the giving, and Amanda was doing all the taking. And it wasn't even like she was asking for help anymore. It felt like she just expected it. Like I was just part of the package deal of living next to her. And that stung. I'm not a doormat. I don't just exist to make her life easier. And still, part of me felt guilty. Like, what if she actually needs that help? I don't want to be the bad guy that just lets her down. But at the same time, I couldn't always sacrifice my time and my energy when I have my own family to take care of. So I was stuck between wanting to help and not wanting to be taken advantage of. After a few days of stewing over it, I just came to the conclusion that I had to say something. So the next time I saw Amanda, I brought it up. I told her that I loved helping out when I could, but I just don't think I could pick up her daughter from daycare every day. And, I expected her to probably be a little disappointed, but to understand and see where I was coming from. But instead, she stared at me like I had just said the worst possible thing ever. Like I betrayed her. And she said, I thought we were friends. You know that you're the only person I can rely on here. I don't have family, and I don't have friends like you. And those words hit me hard, and probably not in the way she intended. Because when she said that, I realized that Amanda didn't view our friendship the way that I did. To her, I was someone who made her life easier. And that was the extent of it. She wasn't upset because I couldn't help. She was upset because the solution to her problems was slipping away. I told her I was sorry, but that I need to prioritize my time and my family, and she just changed. She just brushed me off and said, fine, I'll figure it out. But the way she said it, I knew she was angry, and it made me feel like the whole friendship that I thought we built over the past year was just over because I couldn't help when she asked me to. After that conversation, things between me and Amanda cooled off. She stopped asking for favors as much, but our friendship never really got to be the same. It felt like she was holding a grudge, like I let her down in some monumental way. And at first I felt guilty, and I questioned myself. Did I do the wrong thing? Was I being selfish? Should I just have helped, knowing that she had no one else to turn to? But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that friendships shouldn't be so one-sided. I'm happy to help when I can, but I'm not responsible for fixing anyone else's life. And the fact that she couldn't see that let me know that our friendship wasn't as solid as I thought. A true friend wouldn't expect so much with giving nothing in return. And I learned a valuable lesson from that experience, that sometimes protecting your well-being is what you need. It doesn't make you a bad person to say no when you're overwhelmed. It makes you a person who values their own worth. Since that day, Amanda and I still talk, but it's not the same. We're polite, we have to see each other, but the closeness that we had, it's not there. And honestly, I'm okay with that. I kind of came to the conclusion that not all friendships are built to last, and some people will only stick around as long as you're convenient for them. I don't feel bad about standing up for myself, and I don't feel bad about drawing the line. I had to put my family first, and I'm proud of myself for doing that. It wasn't easy, but sometimes the hardest decisions are the ones that are going to protect you in the long run. Looking back, I'm glad I set those boundaries. I've learned that being kind and being generous doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice your peace of mind. I still believe in helping people when they need it, but to take into account your mental, emotional, physical well-being first. And I think it's a lesson I'll carry with me for a long time.